What it do, you number one podcast listeners? We have made it to the 100th episode of the number one podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee. That's right, episode 100.
Prem, do you realize that means it's been 100 nights of you staying up until 3 or 4 a.m. to edit this 100 times? I guess it's preparing you for fatherhood, huh?
I guess so. Here we go. Let's hit that intro.
We talking about sports, get ball.
What it do, baby?
Yeah. All right, welcome into the 100th episode of the number one podcast in your headphones, Prem Brulee. I'm your host, Premal, and it was only right that I had my better half, my wife, Steph, join me for this momentous occasion. Thanks for being on here, babe.
I'm honored. 100. That's pretty exciting.
Yes, you are making it through. We're on baby watch officially now, and here you are recording a podcast with me. So thank you. I love you.
Doesn't take too much physical effort to sit and talk.
I guess not. Before we get started on this special format, this episode of the Prem Brulee podcast is brought to you by Sleep Adel Photography, a boutique photo studio in Asbury Park, New Jersey. From cinematic stills, unique and classic wedding and elopement photos, even thumb-stopping product or commercial photography like you see for the Prem Brulee brand, Sleep Adel is a full-service studio. So visit their Instagram or website at Sleep Adel, that's SleepAttle, or sleepadel.com, and treat your eyes to something nice. You already know, number one photographer for the number one podcast in your headphones. Only the finest for episode 100. Go check out Sleep Adel. You may just recognize the brains behind that operation. That's our dude, Thomas. So I thought it was only right that he sponsored this episode. So shout out to him. All right, you number one podcast listeners. So for this special 100th episode, I wanted to do a little special format. I asked the number one podcast listeners out there for an Ask Me Anything format. Basically, anything sports, life, baby, pop culture, anything in between. I asked and you all delivered. So, Steph, I'm going to answer some of these, and some of these are for both of us. So you ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right. So this is going to take the spot of Yeah Fam or Not, and then I have a special edition of You Played Yourself Too, because we thought it was only right to have one of those too. Okay. First up, I wanted to have a few of my other special co-hosts drop in and ask a few questions and be part of this episode as well. So, first up, the man behind Sleep Adel, like I just talked about, Thomas.
Hey, Prem. Congrats on so many episodes, so many spicy takes, so much heat. Now you're going to be a dad. That's crazy. It's always an honor hopping on, talking about women I can beat the crap out of, taking after my dad, things like that. But I wanted to ask you two questions. One's simple, one's not so simple. One, what's the moment that made you fall in love with sports? Like, what kicked the whole thing off for you? Or, like, was there an encompassing cultural thing like the 90s Bulls where everyone was like enthralled with it? And two, if someone was coming after your wife and baby, you'd kill them, right? Now make that person a wolf. Could you still do it? If so, you could kill a wolf, correct?
All right. So in true Thomas fashion, of course, he had to have a few callbacks to his former co-hosting duties. So his first question, favorite sports memory that made me fall in love with sports? That is a tough one. I would say one of the ones that made me crazy about football would be the 2002 National Championship, Ohio State beating Miami, the U, in double overtime. Yes, it was a pass interference. That was one of the first moments where I remember being really invested in football and what was going on. I grew up watching football, though, and my first memories were the end of Troy Aikman's career. But I would say having sports be in the forefront was first playing, and then it was watching every Saturday, watching Buckeye football at home with my dad, and then especially watching that national title game in 2002. The second, obviously, Thomas talking about beating up wolves if they attacked you, Steph, or my future son. that is in reference to Thomas claiming he could beat up a wolf before. So shout out to him. He always said he could, and if one came after you, babe, and our baby boy on the way, I sure as hell would try. So I get it now. I get it, Thomas. All it took was me having a baby on the way for me to see your side about beating up a wolf. And also, big clarification regarding beating up women. This was a callback to Thomas saying he could take Ronda Rousey. So please, you number one podcast listeners, you know what kind of show this is. We don't advocate for that. This was Thomas referencing his UFC fighting skills. So I felt that was important for my boy over there. Protect his brand. You're laughing over here.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we had to have my dude, our resident Packer fan co-host, Grant Nordine from the Alternate Jersey podcast and Grant Rants. Go check him out. I got to plug my dude. He's had me on there before, too. Grant is up now.
Premal, hi. It's me, Grant. You know, the guy you bring on the show sometimes to make fun of the Packers. Really cool of you. Anyway, I wanted to congratulate you on 100 episodes of Prem Brulee. 100 is a lot of anything, especially podcast episodes. Congratulations on that. Congratulations on the baby coming. And I just wanted to ask you a very pointed question. Could you rattle off for us a few of your favorite moments from your guest hosts from across the show's life?
All right, another great question. Grant, wondering what my favorite guest host moments. So I definitely have a few. First up, my interview episodes, Guy Talk with Andy Shoemaker, the domestic violence in sports with Jasmine Bott, and the player edition with Mike Adams. Those definitely stand out to me because that was a brand new format for me and kind of a step, dipping my toes into a different space that I hope to do more of. Other special ones, any Football is Dead episodes, there's quite a few of them. A few of them are numbered. There's another that's Football is Still Dead. There's one that's Baseball is Dead. I'm thinking of my episode in particular with my brother Vish and cousin Roshan, with them both on there. By the way, that was a hell of an episode to edit when you add a whole third audio into the fold. But that one stands out most to me. Then Roche and I get in the hose mad talking Astros, him coining Kyrie, a.k.a. Kyrie Irving's nickname, classic. My brother Vish and I talking team snacks, leading to Frito-Lay DMing him to send him free snacks. That was amazing, and I still am looking for my wing sponsorship, Roosters. And then to bring it back to the person who asked this, Grant yelling about Aaron Rodgers. That was pretty recent. We know Aaron Rodgers, the Joe Rogan superfan and anti-vaxxer, a.k.a. he's immunized. So Grant ranting, nice little plug again, ranting about his quarterback was A+. And we just talked about it. Thomas saying he could beat up Ronda Rousey. That is fantastic podcasting. I've legitimately laughed out loud recording with him and playing it back while I edit it. And then, babe, of course, the couples edition with you. Those were big hits among even the non-sports fans. Those got a lot of people interested, and I love those with you. And that was during a time in the pandemic where there wasn't a lot of sports going on, so I was grateful for those.
It's true. I got to expand your wheelhouse a little bit.
Yeah. People care more about you than they do me, so usually it worked out in my favor, so thank you for that.
No, not that they care more about me, just
yeah,
wider range of interests.
There's a few people listening to this right now shaking their heads like, no, she had it right. I'm cool with it. Next up on our previous co-host list, my big bro Vish. We had to include him on here, so take it away, Vish.
Yo, 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 long-time listener and long-time caller. Most may know me as the one that's always zagging when others are zigging. I'm Prem's big bro, Vish. First, Prem, congrats on 100 episodes. Amazing feat. Now, your life is really about to change in a few weeks now. The next 100 are certainly going to come from a different perspective, but I have no doubt that you'll keep this rolling. Proud of you, brother, and all you have accomplished and will continue to accomplish. Now, you asked us to send you a question. I thought about parenting questions, fandom questions, questions on rants, but wanted to think of something else that no one would have asked. If it wasn't going to be Prem Brulee, what were other titles in the works? Premi cakes? Premolette chip cookies? Ice Pram Sundae? I'll hang up now and listen. Love you, man.
Of course, the notorious host that zags when everybody zigs. He had to ask a different question and include dad jokes in there for other podcast names. But in there, I did want to talk about how this podcast name came to be. I might have covered it way back during episode 1 or whatever, but the name actually came from what I used to refer to as our kind of group of sports writers that turn into podcasters. All those guys, Grant and Thomas, both come from that group. So it used to be referred to as Holyfield. It was once called Play Call Network. But that whole crew brainstormed names for what became my solo podcast that would have rotating co-hosts. And actually, Grant came up with the name Prem Brulee by using the term flamey cakes as the inspiration because I used it so often. I will, notoriously, as the people in my life know, add cakes to endearing nicknames. I had a E sound at the end of a name and add a cakes to it. So Steph would be Steffi Cakes as the inspiration. So everybody knew I said flamey cakes, and that's where Prem Brulee came from. So shout out to Grant for that. There's never really another name. So, but I do respect and appreciate the dad joke submission by my big bro, who recently became a dad, and I'm looking to become one here soon. So, we'll be enjoying those jokes together and already pretty much do. So yeah, Prem Brulee was always the name, and it was one of those immediate, like, everybody was like, oh, that's the one. That's it. Okay. Last but not least, my cousin Roche. Take it away, Roche.
Yo, what's good? It's Roche, live and direct from Houston, Texas, calling in for this special 100th episode of Prem Brulee, the #1 podcast in your headphones. Congrats on 100 episodes. You should have probably got here quicker. There, you can sound the petty alert for that one. But we're here. Just want to say congrats again. Glad to be a part of this show at all times. Any given time you want to ask me to be on here, I'm in that bitch. I love being on it. Love what you do. Love hearing you on it. I got a few questions for you. I know you asked for one question, but I don't really care. First question, I'll go lighthearted. I'm gonna be like, let's say 5 albums you loved in 2021, and you can leave, Donda, whatever. Everyone knows you're a Kanye fan. Whatever it is, give me 5 albums that you specifically like that you want to maybe put people on. Or you can even whittle that list down to 3. Second question, I'm going to go with, what is the biggest lesson you learned in 2021? Dig deep, make it about yourself. The biggest lesson you learned about yourself, something you learned about yourself, that's going to help you moving forward. And my last question is, what is your biggest fear as it pertains to you becoming a father very soon? And that's all I got. Congrats. Cheers to the next 100. And can't wait to be on this thing again. Let's get it.
Okay, so Roche, of course, asked a whole bunch of deep questions. And because of the nature of his 3 questions being in different areas, I wanted to cover them as we go on in this section. So I'll have a call back to him. But Roche was asking about 5 albums I really loved this year. My biggest lesson of 2021 heading into this new year, and my biggest fear in becoming a dad, which we'll both partake in, you becoming a mom. So biggest fear in becoming parents. So we'll cover that here in a little bit, but great questions. And without further ado, let's go into the other submissions, the non-audio submissions, the written submissions for this special Ask Me Anything edition. Separated them kind of by categories. And I figured I could get your take on the ones that you care about, babe, and then the parenting ones we'll both cover.
Sounds good.
Okay, so first up, sports. I love this one. We're going to play a good old game of Fuck, Marry, Kill, FMK for... We all know this isn't a family show with my cursing, so Fuck, Marry, Kill. Cowboys, Buckeyes, and Astros. This was a very difficult question. Fantastic work right away. But I thought about it, and I actually, my cousin Roche actually responded to this one, and he ended up with the same answers I did. So, here's my thinking. I'm marrying Ohio State. They're the most consistent, loving team in my life. You know, they give back as much as I put in, right?
How fiery you rant during games,
Yeah,
I don't know. But in longevity, yes. You have the greatest long-term love for Ohio State.
Well,
and
it's reciprocated.
Yes.
It's the healthiest relationship. Put it that way, right? Okay.
Great.
Okay, you agree with that
Yes.
one, right? And it just happens to be the one fanhood that my wife and I agree in this house. This is a Buckeye household.
That is true, too.
Our son will be a Buckeye baby, so
Don't ever play yourself.
it makes sense. A lot of correlation there. My next one. I picked the Astros because I know with this answer people want chaos, and the Astros provide that and more. And this is the one to like really get people rattled over.
It's your wild card.
Yeah, it's the wild card, and it's gonna make people kind of break their necks at me. So
Astros are also like controversial, and that kind of
Yeah.
goes along with that category.
yeah, it gets the hose mad, so it made sense for fun. In Kill, I'm sorry to do it. I'm not really, because you number one podcast listeners know they give me the most pain. Even in a winning season, they're disappointing. It's the Cowboys. They're Kill. All they do is send my blood pressure and anxiety up year to year. Whether their record is good or bad, they give me the same amount of anger. It seems you can support that after 13 years together, right?
Yes.
So we think we like these answers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This game has evolved since we were in elementary school.
It really has, right?
I don't think I ever played it with sports teams before.
No, I thought it was a very clever
It's a
one.
very clever question.
Yeah. Okay. Next up. Also love this one. I love people pandering to me. The Ohio State game of any year that left me the most excited. And then, conversely, the game that made you the most bummed.
Can I guess you're most excited before you say
Yes,
it?
you can guess. Go.
Is this when we beat Bama?
Yes.
I
That's
knew.
that year in particular though
Yeah.
was really fun. So there's a funny story behind that. Me and shout out a previous co-host Jeff actually tackled Steph after Ohio State beat Alabama. We love that story because we were so excited that it wasn't like we decked her. It was like a play. It was like I tackled her onto the couch and Jeff jumped on because we were so pumped.
It was almost like real life was going in slow motion. You guys both looked at each other and simultaneously said, "Did we just beat Alabama? We just beat
Yeah.
Alabama." And
Wow.
then you both looked at me and just jumped on the couch.
It is like, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Ezekiel Elliott's long run to clinch that game.
Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got an opening. Elliott off to the races. Can they catch him? No, they can't. Touchdown.
That whole year was just incredible, but I still say the most satisfying win that I've ever watched the Buckeyes, it was actually the game before that in the Big Ten Championship. The Buckeyes won 59-0 against Wisconsin, and those of you that don't remember, that was a year in which JT Barrett had gotten injured the game before against that team up north, Michigan. He was the starter all year. He ended up finishing top 5 in the Heisman race, but got hurt for the rest of the season. Cardale Jones came in. Nobody knew anything about him. And it was a game where Ohio State really needed to make a huge statement in order to make it into the very first college football playoff. And literally everything they needed to do, they did in that game. It is the most satisfying victory I've ever witnessed, because how many times as a fan are you looking for your team to just kick some butt when they need it most? And they did. And they put it on a really good Wisconsin team. It was the most pleasantly shocking game I've ever seen.
Wow, that might be your favorite Ohio State Buckeye game. That might be my most stressful Ohio State Buckeye game.
Yeah, you
were height of your superstition that year. Like, bad. Wearing down to the same underwear superstition that year.
It was washed. But it was the same pair every Saturday. Yeah.
And I went to go watch the game somewhere different.
Yes.
And I think I didn't breathe for those 3 hours.
Yes.
I was so worried you were going to blame me. And look what happened.
Yeah, credit to you. You even asked if you should come back, or since Ohio State was doing well, if it's okay that she stayed. And she asked me. Not that she needs my permission for anything, but I really appreciated that.
This is how your fanhood has impacted me over the years.
Yeah, shout out my dude Jeff. This is the appropriate question for us to discuss how we enable each other. So shout out him. And on the other side, the most bums, I'll stick with recent memory. A lot of people just older than me will talk about the 98 loss to Michigan State. For older Buckeye fans, that is still to this day the most painful. But to keep with that same theme, in 2015, Ohio State played Michigan State at home. Michigan State's starting quarterback Connor Cook was hurt that day. They only gave 11 carries to Ezekiel Elliott. He was sick all week, but played in the game, only got 11 carries. Ohio State lost that game on a last-second field goal, a very low-scoring game. But that roster was absolutely loaded. It was full of NFL talent, people that are still playing on Sundays. And that team will probably go down as one of the best teams to never get an opportunity at a national title, all because of that game. They were poised to have a roster to repeat. I mean, that was a phenomenal team. And that'll always be a shame that they didn't get a chance for it, all because of that Sparty game. And then, obviously, this past year, Ohio State losing to that team up north. Anytime you lose to that godforsaken team, it sucks.
Disappointment.
Okay, next up. My favorite sports moment of 2021. I had to think hard on this because it wasn't a particularly amazing sports year. Didn't feel like it. But the last year's college football playoff semifinal was actually in 2021. Because it had just passed the new year, and Ohio State beat Clemson 49-28 in the semifinal last season, and that was one of those moments of we needed as Buckeye fans to finally get that Clemson monkey off our back, and that was fantastic.
I think you're stretching that was a 2021 moment, but
I figured it was calendar. Yeah, I figured it was calendar year. Okay. Favorite Cowboys game 2021. I mean, this feels like a trick question because every time they have a good game, they disappoint me. But their most recent game against the Washington football team, they won 56-14. You don't see scores like that in the NFL. The team putting up a 50 burger against a division rival is pretty crazy. So such a convincing, dominant win. And, of course, the Cowboys followed up with a loss after in pure Cowboys fashion.
In pure Prem fashion, you wouldn't have known that you were winning that big when you were watching that game 2 weeks ago.
No, because I know what comes after that. Okay. This one. Would you rather spend a week with Aaron Rodgers or have the Buckeyes lose to that team up north for the next 3 years?
Ouch.
Yeah. Shout out our girl Molly for asking this. She knew it would rile me up here, but I assume we're talking in a post-pandemic world. I would have to suck it up and hang with Aaron.
Where is Aaron?
Because I figured just like with Joe Rogan, I could tune him out. Like, he probably just wants to sound smart, but if I don't give him the attention, maybe he'll just sit there silently. And I figured this is a good opportunity to remind you, number one podcast listeners, to get vaccinated, boosted, and stay healthy. So figure an Aaron Rodgers question is the time for that.
I wonder if you could get into some deep philosophical questions with Aaron Rodgers after spending a week with him.
No thanks.
No thanks. Would you come home smelling? Probably.
You hate his long hair, by the way.
I hate his long hair so much.
Yeah, I don't particularly enjoy him. He's more on him later, of course. You already know.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I wanted to get into a miscellaneous category of some sort. Just kind of the other questions. Maybe they're pop culture, maybe they're not. But I thought there's some cool ones in here. So I promised I'd get back to this question. One of my cousin Roche's questions was 5 albums that I loved from 2021. This is a good opportunity to shout out my cousin again. His year-end playlist and him in general for all things music. He's definitely the godfather of all my music tastes and still gives me some music pointers to this day with specifically his year-end list. So I use that to kind of jog my memory. His list is more eclectic than mine is, as you'll see. But I have a few options for you. I know he said not to include like the given ones, but I had to throw in Kanye West, Donda. It is better than Certified Lover Boy. Sorry, Drake fans. I know it pains you to hear it, but it's true.
From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Next up, this is a little bit of a surprising one for folks probably that know me. Turnstile's Glow On. This is a direct influence from Roche. He told me about this album. I gave it a chance, and it was different than what I usually listen to, but it was fantastic. This happened to be his number 1 album of 2021. So Turnstile, check him out if you get a chance. Next couple, Baby Keem, The Melodic Blue. Fantastic album. You've probably heard a few of his songs with Kendrick Lamar. They're starting to make it on radio, but the entire album was fantastic. His debut was very deep, and I just thought a really unique sound. Don Toliver, Life of a Don. He doesn't necessarily talk about anything substantial, but his whole album's just a vibe, and it's easy to listen to. So that's a good one. And these next two are pretty surprising, and it's going to surprise a lot of people, but I got 2. Casey Musgraves, Star-Crossed. Fantastic. We jammed out to that in the car, you and I. And another one, Olivia Rodrigo, a.k.a. Olivia Rodrigo. Her album, Sour, not a secret. Everybody loved it. It's all over the radio. Fantastic work. So those are I think that was 6, but I had to show my little bit expanding eclectic taste.
I was going to say there's a little bit of range in that list.
Little range. Don't advertise it too much, you know. Okay. I think I want to get your take on this one specifically because I got a lot of feedback from some of our teacher friends here.
Right.
I got asked, if you were a teacher, what grade and subject would you teach?
Interesting.
Because I've obviously thought about this a lot since you're a teacher, Steph. Not assuming I could do it, but it's just like, oh, what would I teach? Because we know so many teachers and we love so many teachers, right?
Where would your interests lie?
Yeah. So, do you want to answer first? You want me to give you some of the answers I got?
Well, I mean, right off the bat, it would be older kids.
Yeah.
Like, because you would need sarcasm and jokes to be understood.
Yes.
You would need to be able to tease them and
Yep.
have them get that. And then I'm initially thinking, and this is just because of where your interests lie, somewhere in the science realm. Maybe
Yeah.
even like a high school lab or something where you could do experiments and projects with the kids.
I like that. That seemed to be that was one of the particular answers. Here's some of the ones I got. I got a 6th grade science that I could probably do. I wouldn't mind middle school. They might be a little young.
You are one of the few that I know actually liked middle school. So
Yeah,
maybe.
shout out my cells boys and gals. I got 9th grade Earth/physical science. That wouldn't be a bad one. High school biology.
There you go. That's what I was thinking.
High school AP Psych or stats. Don't know much about psych, but I think this is in regards to me being a little deeper. But yeah, stats I could too. I like all those answers. I think I'm with you though. It would be some kind of high school science class. Biology has some lab work, but it's kind of maybe it'd be like a advanced biology, like maybe one of the AP sciences I would like to do.
Because I can't picture you lecturing. I picture you doing like more like hands-on things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I say like more of a lab
I don't want to
style.
just talk at people, but
Well, I guess it's what you
talk at people at school.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Pause. Yeah. Still tune in, everybody. All right. We came to a consensus here. It seems like high school science in general. Okay. Not physics, though. I don't really dig that. Just in case you're wondering. You weren't, but whatever. All right. Last but not least, I got asked this terrible question. My favorite T Swift song, and I was instructed I have to pick one.
I think you're sweating right now.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head at our sis Leah for this one. So I thought about this a lot, did some research. So my favorite song is...
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time.
Anyway, so that was my favorite song.
That's not a song.
Sorry,
That's
I got
a video clip.
I got interrupted. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, number one podcast listeners.
Leah, you're gonna have to make him actually answer this one day.
Here is by far the most questions we got were about parenthood, and this is the reason I wanted to have you on here, babe, because I figured we could talk about it and get our thoughts before the baby, and maybe it'll be fun to hear these back one day to see just how well we did, or if we really cashed in on these, making sure these fears didn't happen.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. So, you number one podcast listeners, in case you missed it, we are having a baby boy soon, like very soon. Like, this is the last episode before we become parents for sure.
Oh.
Yeah, crazy. So, we got a lot of deep questions for this one. So, I figured this is a good one to end this special Yeah Fam or Not of this 100th episode. First up, want to connect to question 2 from my cousin Roche. Biggest fear as it relates to your son-to-be. So I'll start and I'll get your take, babe. Mm-hmm. My biggest fear is in general doing right by him and for him. It sounds super vague, but the overall responsibility to make sure he ends up a good person is not something I'm taking lightly, and it's a huge responsibility. So, what he learns will be a direct reflection of what we provide for him. What about you?
Yeah, this one's a deep one. I feel like just biggest fear, like you said, is just, it almost flips it to like what our goals are for him, because I feel like my biggest fear is that he doesn't like exude kindness or acceptance, and that is a great reflection of that just being our goal for him in the long run. Mm-hmm. And our goal as parents to hopefully raise someone that's a reflection of you and I.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a good one. Just general fear that he doesn't end up a good person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you most looking forward to about being a dad or mom? What do you got?
I just want to see his personality develop. I'm really excited to see what parts of you he's got, what parts of me he's got.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I really, and I think we've both talked about this, we're anxious to see what he looks like.
Yes, that's true too.
You get these ultrasounds and you might get a pretty good picture. Some people have better ones than others and have better luck with their ultrasound pictures. Our guy moves a lot, so he didn't really provide that for the doctor. But just seeing what he looks like, what you said, same thing you said about personality, but what combinations of things he gets from each of us.
Yeah.
I also can't wait to see how Teddy is with him and vice versa as they grow up.
That's true.
And then in general, literally everything. We'll have a son who's equal parts us that we get to help shape and support. And I get to do it with you, the person I love most. So the milestones will be fun, but I can't wait for all the in-between. What do you think about that?
The small moments?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cuddling on the couch, just like when we cuddle with Teddy, we say, life's good. I
Life
think
is
we'll
good,
have lots of moments like that with our little man between us.
100%. Okay, we talked about this a little bit. You hinted at it, but what are your hopes and aspirations for Baby Bot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, kind of what I was saying earlier. I just really want him to be a good person. I just want him to be kind. I want him to be accepting. And, I think that's probably something that all parents hope for their children, but I just want him to make the world a better place, like add to it, not take from it. So,
yeah.
Sorry if that sounded really cheesy.
I think most of this is kind of cheesy. I just hope that he's a good person, that he's loyal, and that he's happy, whatever he ends up doing. I value loyalty a lot, so I hope that he's a reflection of that. And just being genuinely good to people, I think that's very important and underrated. Because I don't want to have too many high expectations of him, other than that he treats himself and others around him with respect. So
I like that you said happy. That's a good one.
happy, yeah.
Just want him to be happy.
That's all you want.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Parent trends. What are you most excited to participate in? I am a big increasing fan of dad jokes. They're all of a sudden finding to be more funny and less annoying.
Cliche.
Yeah, I don't know what triggered. I assume as soon as you...
Hormones?
Yeah, I don't know. Also, I'm pumped for my hands-free baby harness carrier.
You are very excited about that.
You know this. I'm excited to, be a multitasker with him strapped to me. I'm very pumped about that.
Prem's talking about baby wearing while he mows the lawn.
Yeah, put a little big put big headphones on him. Have him in the stroller with me on the course. I can't wait. What about you?
Well, this is something that I've been doing for a while, but now it won't seem as lame in your eyes. I love going on mom walks.
Yes.
My friends and I call it mom walks, and we just go on walks around neighborhoods and parks together, get some outside time, get to chat. But
yeah, I'm gonna have to be better.
We'll actually have babies in strollers, and can legit call it a mom walk.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get over that whole walking for no purpose. It actually has a purpose now.
Yeah, well, I think when it quiets a screaming baby, you'll feel like it's okay.
Yeah, that actually has a purpose, for sure. Okay. I gotta ask this. How is Steph feeling? So I had to bring you on here to answer yourself. And how am I feeling? How about you? You're the one doing all the hard work here. How you feeling?
It's a loaded question.
It is loaded. However you interpret this could be physically, mentally, emotionally. Maybe answer all of them. Maybe that's why it was worded that way.
Maybe leave it open-ended.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm feeling lucky.
Yes.
Because this has been a really cool experience the last 9 months. Really fun moments, and just kind of in awe of the human body, the female body.
Unbelievable.
And it's just kind of mind-blowing when you really stop to think about it.
Yep.
So overall lucky. I think it's probably natural to feel anxious at this point in time, because we are, as we like to fondly say, on the final countdown.
Yeah.
So I think as the reality of actual labor and the first few months of newborn life are starting to come to fruition, anxiety is being felt, but I know we'll make it through. It's just, you hear a lot of negative spins on those moments in life, whereas I'm trying not to be too scared of it and know that we're going through a huge milestone experience and just revel in that. Physically, I've been feeling decently good, which I, again, feel lucky to say. That's not the story that every woman can say. So, physically been doing well. I feel like I've been able to stay active, keep moving. I do need some help off the couch here and there nowadays, but
Yep. Yeah, he's running out of room in there, so it's making life a little uncomfortable for you. I'm excited, nervous, like a good anxious, basically, but I have the easy part, so I do think you used the perfect word, lucky. You and I were on this podcast not too long ago talking about the process we went through, so we have perspective on how lucky it is, and some people still struggle with having to go through more, so I think that's always been something on our mind to know how fortunate we are. So like you said it perfectly. We don't take it lightly, and we know how fortunate we are to be able to be doing this, and always and constantly sending positive vibes towards people that have any sort of struggles, from minor to major. Talked about it before, but we're here for you. The people are here for you. You're not alone. So, lucky is a great way to put it. Okay, we got to ask this next question. Do you and Steph have a labor playlist? We had talked about this at one point, but what do you think, babe? Or I was thinking we have the capability now to be able to like watch shows or movies, and that's kind of what I feel like's been popular now too.
Yeah, I think we went back and forth on it, but we just decided that in general, just some sort of white noise in the background is necessary, but doesn't necessarily need to be specific songs or playlists or anything. Just something to keep us occupied. So we'll definitely be utilizing our smartphone technology and Spotify and Netflix and all that.
Yeah, maybe it'll be all of the above. Whatever you're feeling. Maybe watching something isn't. I mean, I could see it just being something like putting Friends on because you know all the episodes.
I do. That's
just
true.
Listening to the sound, whether you can pay attention or not. We'll see.
Question is, will I be able to laugh at the jokes still? I hope.
I think what we learned in our birthing class and the classes we took online is that there'll be a point where you can, and then a point where you'll be annoyed and won't. So
That's true.
I'm sure we'll run the whole gauntlet. We'll have to report back on that one. All right. We feel good about those answers? You think about anything that we didn't cover? I want to thank you, number one podcast listeners. Those are amazing questions. I want to do these a little bit more often. I think they're fun to go over hypotheticals like this. I have another fun one for who you got instead of doing a sports pick. It's a popular discussion I ask some of our friends. So wanted you, number one podcast listeners, to think about it too. But without further ado, you know what time it is. We couldn't avoid it on this 100th episode. That wouldn't be right. So let's hit that intro, baby.
I'm petty as hell. And I'm super petty. Here we Petty Le Pew. Go.
That's right, you number one podcast listeners. It's time for You Played Yourself. Your favorite section, my favorite section, but not my blood pressure's favorite section. So this special 100th episode edition of You Played Yourself, I wanted to do a Hall of Fame edition for our favorite inspirations for this You Played Yourself section. And you probably guessed some of the names, but I thought it was only right that this 100th episode be saved for some of the most frequent visitors to this section of our illustrious podcast. First up, we talked about him earlier, Aaron Rodgers, who recently said, quote, "If science can't be questioned, it's not science anymore, it's propaganda, and that's the truth," end quote. That's from the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, who is the most dangerous kind of dumb person, and that's a dumb person who thinks they're smart. I can't stress enough how much he belongs and will be cemented in the legacy of You Played Yourself. And I know he doesn't deserve indulgence over any of this, but I felt the need, just in case some of you follow Aaron Rodgers or are going to another podcast host for your information, like Joe Rogan, or going to an athlete for your information, go to your doctors, your public health professionals instead. But I felt the need to talk about this. Science is questioned. It's what's called peer review. Science doesn't owe Aaron Rodgers, Kyrie Irving, or anyone a re-explanation of the treatments that you took that were already proven ineffective. They don't owe revisiting something because you thought it was a good idea. They already tested that. Unless something new comes out about it, they're not going to peer review it for your sake, Aaron. Perfect segue into our next Hall of Fame person of You Played Yourself, and that is one Mr. Kyrie Irving. Speaking of dumb people who think they're smart, the COVID numbers have the Nets calling him to compete in away games. You absolutely hate to see it. And this dude wasn't prepared to play, so needed time to ramp up from I don't know what he's been doing. But Kyrie Irving, Mr. Flat Earth himself, belongs on You Played Yourself, just like this next person does. And that is Clemson head football coach Dabo Swinney. Our thoughts are with Dabo in his first year dealing with NIL. You know he has to be hating it, seeing players make money, because God forbid that happens. So our thoughts are with him as he tries to stomach it after winning the illustrious Cheez-It Bowl. Just so happens that the year he struggles is the first year of NIL. I don't make this up. Sticking in college football, you know he had to be on here. Hall of Fame edition, Jim Harbaugh. The man gets his first win against Ohio State a year after ducking them during the pandemic, then starts talking spicy, him and his position coaches, and then gets his butt whooped by Georgia in the college football playoff. We'll see next year with your stupid dumbass not able to close his mouth face, Jim Harbaugh. We'll see next year. It's easy to talk when you win your first one out of 6 years, but we'll see what happens. Fuck out of here. Okay, I felt this was worthy of Hall of Fame status because I've talked about it so much. Silver linings after your team loses. If your team loses a game they should have won, be mad. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You don't need to find a silver lining. We don't want to hear that shit. And if you are one of those fans that does that, shut your mouth. And don't you dare question how crazy a fan's being for being upset at their team. Fan is short for fanatic. Maybe you should try it.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
So, you number one podcast listeners, after you hear this, let me know if I missed anyone that deserves to be in the You Played Yourself Hall of Fame. These are the first 5 inductees that I thought of right off the bat because they so deserve to be on You Played Yourself since they've been such almost permanent fixtures on it. What'd you think, babe? Had to get fired up a little.
That's pretty mild for you, actually.
It's pretty mild, yeah. I figured for the 100th episode, we didn't need to be doing that. The little baby's right here, too. He can pick up on that energy. Wake up Teddy napping next to us. So, yeah, You Played Yourself Hall of Fame.
Just sprinkled a few customers.
Yeah, exactly. Just a few. We put Aaron Rodgers in there. Kyrie Irving. We could have put King Snake Kevin Durant, but there's also always a second Hall of Fame edition. I don't think he deserved to be first team. I think his own teammate kind of took that from him recently. And then we have Dabo Swinney, Jim Harbaugh, and silver linings after your team loses. Don't need them. You played yourself. There we go. Now, we got who you got and what you feeling. I wanted to do kind of a fun one for who you got. I asked this to all of our friends. It seemingly always comes up. I'm not sure why it became my thing to ask people, but somehow it always comes up. So since we wrapped up Thanksgiving and Christmas recently, basically wraps up pie season. You know, like pies are most notoriously eaten around these holidays, like the winter holidays. So I ask this all the time, but rank the following dessert categories. You number one podcast listeners, think about this here. Your major categories. We have cake, brownies, cookies, ice cream, pie, and cheesecake. You got 6 broad dessert categories. How do you rank them? Babe, go.
Cheesecake, number 1.
Cheesecake is number 1. Wow, okay.
Well, when we started this conversation, I don't know how many years ago.
Yeah.
We've really analyzed our desserts over these years.
Yeah, cheesecake wasn't
a category.
Right.
And I had to convince you because it's not a cake.
It's not a pie.
And it's not a pie.
Yeah.
But it's the best dessert there is around. So you finally gave in and let me have cheesecake as category.
Yeah,
so I have to say number 1.
Okay. On principle alone, I respect that.
Yeah. Number 2, ice cream, because
ice cream's number 2. Okay.
Eat ice cream all year round, anytime.
Yes.
Seasonal flavors.
Agreed.
So many different toppings.
Yeah.
Always sounds good.
Yep.
Then we're gonna do, and I know you disagree with this, cake.
Got a strong take about this. I'm gonna wait on this.
Strong take on it. I would eat any cake, all cakes, even grocery store cake. Still delicious.
Yeah, she's trying to preempt my stance on this, but just remember that.
Then
okay.
I'll go cookies, brownies, pie.
Cookies, brownies, pie. I'm surprised that pie's last for you, but something's got to be last. So I get it.
Right. Because here's my thing about pie, and you use this same argument. I'm going to steal it from you about cake.
Yeah.
Is like really good pie is really good,
Yeah.
but like bad pie, and I'm not even like a crust. Like I don't really like crust. Like if I'm gonna do pie,
That's the best part about pie.
I like graham cracker like crust better than I like regular pie crust. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Thoughts?
So let me give my ranking first, and then we're going to have a discussion here, and I'm going to try to convince you number one podcast listeners to see my way. Okay, my ranking is this. First, cookies. Second, ice cream. We agree on that. Third is brownies. Fourth is cheesecake.
Ugh.
Fifth is pie. And sixth and last is cake.
So wrong.
No, it's not wrong. Here's my take. You number one podcast listeners, my friends have all heard this, so I'm talking to you, okay? You've never heard this discussion from me. Here it is. A bad cookie, say a store-bought cookie, is still really good. A bad cake, store-bought cake, is not very good.
No, it's delicious.
It's got that fake, like, plasticky icing on it. Not good.
Sugar.
It's not good. It's almost like the layer has to be kind of broken through, like a membrane.
Oh god. Well, that doesn't sound appealing.
Yeah, it doesn't at all. Like a good cake's really good. I'm not over here acting like all cake is bad. Like we have a bakery near us, soft, fluffy, amazing. We both love it.
Golden Delight.
Yes. So good cake's really good, but bad cake is very bad. I will say, you said this about pie. I disagree, because I can tell you, I don't know anyone that makes a coconut cream pie, but Sarah Lee in the freezer section does, and it still goes hard.
But you put pie second to last.
I did, and that's only because of the same argument. So I have cookies, ice cream 1, 2, because of that same stance. Like, a generic cookie is still really good. A store brand, like $1 pint is still really good. It still hits. Like, you get any kind that you prefer, it's still going to be good.
Yeah.
Brownie, same thing. Like, we all have memories of the, like, Little Debbie snacks, all those, like, cosmic brownies. They're all still really good. And a homemade brownie, even better.
But you don't like brownies unless there's something in them.
I do. Yeah, that's correct. They got to have something in them. That's why brownies are a little lower.
Right in the middle.
But this game, little explanation, it's like it's ranking everything in that category, if you couldn't tell. It's everything from the best in the dessert category to the worst in every type in it. So
that's why cheesecake wins hands down, because your most plain classic cheesecake is so yummy.
See, I disagree
delicious.
with that. I need something on my cheesecake too.
And then you can go crazy with it too, and you get all these insane flavors and combinations. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole restaurant based on cheesecake.
True. It's true.
For goodness sakes.
It's true. Cheesecake's pretty good, but the other ones are also more portable. I got cookies, ice cream, brownies, 1, 2, 3, and you can eat all on the go. Obviously, ice cream's a little bit more difficult, but people eat it walking around all the time, obviously.
Portability's a part of your qualification?
Everything plays in. Everything plays in. But cookies, number one, and I love... Shout out, like, you know this about me. For a birthday, I love a good cookie cake, because what's better than a cake? Actually making a big cookie. So that's how I feel about it. You number one podcast listeners, you know I'm going to be asking on social media, so make sure you head over there and give me your rankings, and I want to dissect these, and you give me the reasons why. I don't want to just get your ranking. I need to know why you feel the way you feel, okay? And tell me
Deep analysis.
You can tell me I'm wrong. You won't be correct, but you can try. And I'll listen. I'll try to listen.
In reality, the best answer is that all desserts are great.
No, this is not the game we're playing. We're not playing Kumbaya here, babe. We got to pick sides here, and that's what I'm asking you all to do.
My sweet tooth wins out in the end.
You are a dessert gal, so here I am analyzing dessert while it's kind of your specialty. So instead of what you feeling, we kind of talked about it a lot with our parenting section and a whole bunch of others. So I decided we're gonna kind of skip over that, since we talked a lot about what we're feeling coming up here. Parenthood's on the forefront anyway, so we don't have much else to talk about, right? Yeah. Well, we got a new kitchen. We're both feeling that, right?
That is true.
We worked really hard to get a new kitchen. Yeah, that's definitely that's definitely a pro. Yeah. That's definitely a plus, yeah.
The first house project just for us and not
Yeah.
out of necessity.
Not
so
out of
there we go.
necessity.
That's
There
what
you go.
you're feeling.
So shout out all you guys like chipping away at your either saving for a home, saving for a project at home. It's a beautiful feeling when you actually can get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that means that it is now time for Too Much Sense. And before we begin, let's hit that Too Much Sense intro. All right, you number one podcast listeners, I'm excited about this edition. In 100th episode fashion, I wanted to make it a little longer, especially since we're wrapping up 1 year and heading into a new one. And thankfully, you number one podcast listeners delivered with some great life/advice questions that I purposely saved for this section. First up, I got asked about New Year's resolutions. I haven't had much time to think about this. You and I were just talking about this, babe. But I did just think of one because I found myself doing this already, and I need to be more disciplined about it. I just thought of this one, is not eating after a certain point at night. Late night snacks, I got to cut them out. I'm a night owl, but that doesn't mean that I need to snack just because I stay up later. So that's something I decided I'm going to work on. What do you think about that one?
It's a good one.
It's a good one, right?
For you, yeah.
Yes, I'm going to try to cut it off. Like, sometimes we eat a little later. So I was thinking like maybe cutting off around 9:30 or so.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a healthy time.
So that's my one. But other than that, I don't have too many. We got enough of a challenge coming up for me to add on to a New Year's. Do you have one? You said you had one, right?
My like silly one, kind of similar to your don't eat after a certain time. My silly one is I want to make sure I use my water pick.
Oh, your flosser, yeah.
My flosser as a regular part of my nightly routine and not just I haven't used you in a while. I should get
I like
it
that.
out. So,
Okay.
changed up my nightly routine a little bit.
I like that one. I have my own like flossing head with that too, so I probably need to be better about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I also would be remiss if I didn't use this opportunity to remind you, number one podcast listeners, to embrace and accept resolutions, whether you stick them out or not. The journey to betterment is just that. It's a journey. You got this. And the rest of y'all, don't hate on anyone trying. It's a beautiful thing. I use this example all the time. People trying to get in shape, New Year's resolution. We all know the statistics. People, a large majority of them give up after a few weeks. That's okay. The important part is the effort. And don't hate on those people trying. If you don't believe in resolutions, that's fine. Everybody's kind of on their own journey. And let's respect everyone doing it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next up on Too Much Sense, kind of merging a few topics, the Ask Me Anything with life advice here. Something I learned about myself this year. So I'm still learning this, but something I learned about myself is knowing that I have the ability to stop investing and going above and beyond for people that don't show love back and reciprocate the care I show. It was something that took a while for me, but I'm capable of removing people who don't serve me in my ever constant journey of growth. And I need to remember that about myself. It's sometimes things are meant to be moved on from, and it's okay for that to happen. Mm-hmm. So that's something I learned about myself this year. I'm still learning it. I'm still not great at it, but it's something I found that I'm actually capable of. And this is the third and final question that my cousin Roche dropped, but he wanted to know the biggest lesson that I learned this year. So not just something I learned about myself, but a lesson I learned. And that lesson kind of connects to the last thing I just said, but it's not worrying what other people think and focusing in on the people that truly matter. So I used to be so focused on making everyone happy that the most deserving people didn't get enough of my attention. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. But I learned that a lot of people tend to project what's going on, and it's okay for me to focus on myself. And it's important to do that because I can't offer the best version of myself if I don't prioritize myself. And that's something I'm still learning and I'm not very good at because my tendency is to want to put other people first. But it's a lesson I need to learn still, and still am learning, is that putting yourself first isn't always a bad thing. So, what about you? You have any lessons you learned over the past year, or you gonna try to call bullshit on any of the things I said?
No, I'm not calling bullshit on any things you said. Those are things that you truly have worked on the last year or so and continue to work on. And I think that's huge. I mean, as we've getting older in life, as we're, 30 years old now, and we got to realize that the people in your life are the ones that make your life better, not cause you harm or stress.
Yep.
So if you take the time to pause and reflect, you're keeping the people around you that make you a better person. And that's something that you worked on this year, is putting the effort towards it, those that do make you happier and better. Proud of you.
Thanks, babe. I'm proud of you too.
For fiery person that you are,
I'm learning.
Taking some self-reflection.
Yeah, I feel like I also did a pretty good job of not responding fiercely or ferociously at times. I use you to check me a lot, so that's a credit to you and things you've helped me with. But that's another thing, is thinking on things before reacting. Yep. And it's an important lesson for us all. But yeah, you number one podcast listeners, if you believe in New Year's resolutions, if you don't, we're all kind of on our own journey to bettering ourselves, and respect to all you that are doing the best you can to do that. And nobody's perfect, but we're all just, trying to do things that are best for ourselves and for our own growth.
I'm struggling with what this past year, but as I think ahead, a big lesson I want us to learn I'm hoping that we'll learn this year.
Yeah.
Is balance.
Balance, yeah.
Because obviously we're taking this really big step and even taking on a new identity.
Yeah.
But want to make sure that we balance the new identity with still who we are now. So I think that's a lesson I'm hoping that you and I can learn in the 2022 year.
We're acutely aware of it, that becoming mom and dad isn't going to be our only identity. Obviously, initially, that's the focus, but eventually we do have to still prioritize being husband and wife, being friends, being sons and daughters, and all that stuff. So we're very aware of that. And we know it's easier said than done. We don't even know what we don't know yet about parenting. But we are very much aware of, wanting to still make sure the other people in our life are still feeling the love too, as well as ourselves.
Yes.
Again, back to that, making sure we're our best version before we are anything to anyone else. So, yeah, that's a longer edition of Too Much Sense, but it was only right for episode 100. It was only right that we did a special format. We inducted some You Played Yourself Hall of Fame members. So, you number one podcast listeners, I just want to sign off by telling you from the bottom of my ferocious, ranting self that I appreciate every single one of you. 100 episodes is not something I take lightly, and people still take the time to listen, contribute. A lot of them co-host, answer questions on social media, give me ideas. I appreciate all of you. I get so many people still posting pictures or sending me pictures when they wear the merch, the Prem Brulee hats. That means so much to me. You have no idea. This is something I'm passionate about, and it means so much that people care what I have to say and show an interest in tuning in. I do not take that lightly, and I don't take these 100 episodes lightly. It's a huge deal for me, and I cannot thank you all enough, you number one podcast listeners. There's a reason we only associate with being number one, and it's because I've surrounded myself with some incredible listeners, some incredible co-hosts, some incredible sponsors, and you know what to do. I appreciate it, but keep listening, keep passing it along. It means so much to me, so that the next 100 can be even better. And I love you all dearly. If, again, you want some merch, the Prem Brulee hats still in circulation. You let me know. 100 episodes down. Who knows how many to continue. You number one podcast listeners, Appreciate you so much. Please keep tuning in. Please keep reviewing, rating, passing on to friends, sharing, social media, all that stuff, wearing the merch. It means the world to me. I hope you feel it through your number one podcast listening headphones. And I hope you associate with the number one podcast in your headphones brand, because you truly are Hall of Famers in my book. And not that you played yourself kind. And thanks, babe, for being on this special edition.
Thanks for
episode
having me
100.
again.
100. Can't believe it.
You'll have to let me know when I'm being kicked off. People get annoyed with me too much.
I don't
Maybe
think so.
around-
I might get kicked off before then. All right, signing off for episode 100. You number one podcast listeners, thank you again. We love you. And we'll talk to you next time.